All right, I got another DCC adventure for you. So if you're a player, don't watch this. This is going to be for judges only. Um, okay, do you remember Trolls of Mistwood? I did a video about it. Here's the sequel, Curse of Mistwood. This, once again, is written by David Fisher as well as illustrated by him. But he's got some company with him, with Daniel Bishop has helped write it. And he's got Brian Van Hunsel, again, to do the maps. And he also has Dale Tegeler, I guess that's how you say it. I hope that's how you say it. If not, I apologize, to do some maps as well. Again, this is for 5 to 8 characters of levels 4 through 6. And this is having your PCs return to Mistwood after 5 years for the Curse of Mistwood. You don't have to have played Trolls of Mistwood, but so you could just jump right into it. But it is neat if you have played Trolls of Mistwood, all the stuff that you might remember from it, take away from it, because I'm certain maybe you have played some other adventures with those characters, and now they've come back, and stuff has changed, stuff they remember, NPCs they remember, and it's cool to have that kind of connection with it. So this is 70 pages. This is much bigger than Trolls of Mistwood. This is a very large DCC adventure. It's got about 20 pages of spells, patrons, and the like, spotlighting NPCs and stuff like that, as well as some monsters. So what is a quick overview type thing for between Trolls and this is where obviously Trolls dealt with Trolls. As you can see here, this deals with Hags. They were our enemy at the end of Trolls of Mistwood, and now they're front and center here all throughout Curse of Mistwood. So Trolls are a force to be reckoned with. They're very nasty. They give great role-playing possibilities with their personality, the way they talk, how nasty they are, the evil deeds that they do. And this adventure is full of them. So you can really ramp up and enjoy role-playing a hag in this. So that might not be adventure that a lot of people have played with. There's a lot of hag type stuff. So this is really jumping in head first there into it. And I really like that about it. So obviously you have connections from Trolls to Curse. And, if I was to say, in one sentence, what is this? This is travel to castle, kill something adventure. But it is much, much obviously bigger than that. It's much meatier. There's many, many new monsters that, are unique to this adventure. The castle is a living castle. It's an actual being. So that makes it unique. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. There is warring factions trying to get power in the Hag political atmosphere. And they're all trying to get the throne where a Methuselah Hag now sits. And the throne is very powerful. And it's actually called the Throne of Undying Wisdom. And I'm just going to read this to explain to you just how hags are, what they're trying to fight over, and kind of the evil nastiness of hags. So unupholstered with the facial skins of 100 hags and constructed from the bones of lost children, the Throne of Undying Wisdom is an arcane relic of immense and evil power. The green shriveled faces have their eyes and mouths stitched closed. They seem to twitch and strain on close examination. So right there, that just shows you the nastiness. And there she is sitting on her throne. The nastiness of the hags, but also the power that they wield. I'm going to show you here an isometric map of the castle. Now, this castle is in the Hag World. Okay, so this is going to be like a mirrored version of Mistwood. A curse has happened to someone in the town. The players are going to go. They're going to hopefully parlay with the hags that they remember from the end of Trolls of Mistwood on Crone Island. This is going to be the Gravic Swamp Hags, the Coven, or Coven, if you're an American movie fan. That's a joke, okay? So they'll talk to them, and they're going to finally kind of realize, and they're going to be kind of used as pawns between several hag factions throughout this adventure. And they're going to say, hey, if you want to free this, you need to go, and you're going to need to go into the Hag World. The Hag World is a mirrored version of Mistwood. It's nasty, it's dark, it's full of hags, obviously, full of demons, damned ones, like nasty, kind of sharp teeth, sharp clawed eyes, glowing damned people. And obviously it's very swampish. It is in the Gravic Swamp, as it mirrors that. But you're going to need to go and stop this Methuselah hag. It happens to be it happens to be their sister, and they left her sister and her kind of coven to make their own coven in the Gravik Swamp, because the older sister wanted to kill the younger one because she had compassion. And that's what kind of deals in with the Trolls of Mistwood adventure, and that's what kind of comes back in this one a little bit too. So they are sisters of her, and they want revenge, and they want to sit on the throne. Well, one of them does. So again, it's all about trying to take over this throne. This is your Game of Thrones of hags, okay? So they're going to, in essence, need to go over to the Hag World. And the Hag World is obviously going to be a very hostile place to them. They're much likely to be captured by somebody. You know, a lot of these hags are going to try to capture them, and they're going to need to escape, and so on and so forth. So when they finally make it to the Hag World, you've got tons of encounters that are laid out for the swamp, the Hag World swamp, and those are all unique, very cool. The adventure is full of new monsters, much more so than in Trolls of Mistwood. Right here, the troll world is called Barg Herzerag, and the Gravik Coven, they want rid of Griztella, which is their older sister. Well, when they get there, they find that there's another group of hags that also want rid of her so that they can get the throne. Now they're going to try to use the PCs as best they can to try to to finagle them into doing their bidding. And so that's where you can have a lot of role playing and deciding. Your players might decide, who should we go with? Who do we believe? Let's you role play these different hags. Which side will they join on with? And either way, whichever way they cut it, they're going to go to this castle where this Methuselah lives. Okay, this Griztella, and the castle is an actual living construct. It's an actual living entity. It's very dark, very evil type of place. It's very haggish once again, and that's where Dell's great isometric maps are going to come in. So your PCs are going to get that information from the different hags. The second group of hags in the Hag World are going to immediately try to make them fight a great prime troll with 4 arms, and they're going to need to defeat that troll and kind of win them over. And then they'll say, okay, well, we need you, and off you go. Here's how you're going to do it. You need to go to this place. Stay away from the Citadel of Hecate or Hecate, whatever you want to call it. And there's also in Torpus, the patron, who's also got his minions involved in this curse, as well as this vie for power, because there's a concordance that's going to happen. This melding of the two worlds between the Hag World and our world, or the PC's world. And they're trying to see that happen, this great mixing of the two. And that's kind of what's happening with this curse. A woman is pregnant in Mistwood, and it's because of the dealings of these hags, as well as in Torpus, and this concurrence that's going to happen. So that's also very kind of nasty as well. So they go to this castle, and that obviously just getting there, it's got a lot of encounters, a lot of uniqueness with the swamp and being in this Hag World. And then once they get to the castle, everything about it is unique. It's obviously where Daniel and David really, I'm going to say, DCC'd this adventure. As many of the rooms are deadly. They've got strange traps. They've got strange oddities. They've got evil, wicked things about them. They've got floating souls. They have weird furniture, weird traps. Of course, obviously, it's full of trolls. And this is a living being, meaning that, it says one thing, like if your PCs put their ear up against the wall, they can actually hear like a slight pulse. The ground and the walls have some give to them, almost like a squishiness or something, like something of flesh. And so you can have tons of enjoyment, really describing the way this place is. It can actually manifest a mouth, and it can actually talk, and it needs blood from the PCs. So there's like a bargain you can do with the actual castle itself, with the players. So just very unique, and I would say that's very much fitting in the DCC mentality of the way a lot of adventures are. So I would have to say that most of the adventure is going to be set in this castle. And room by room, many interesting NPCs, such as there's a library, and there's like a ghost librarian who shushes everybody. Lots of traps in this place, animated rugs, um, strange walls, or there's one room where there's a bunch of the souls of children. It's like floating throughout the air and stuff. Reminds me of like the haunted house at Disney World. Um, you can read the books that are in the library. There is there's a place of like a bunch of poisons, and they've got a bunch of charts in here. They've got just a lot of random type stuff in there that you could roll up. And I would have to say that that's obviously its strongest thing is just the uniqueness of the castle. Um, there's ingredients for like there's a poison room, so you can roll up like sample ingredients. It may be let's see here, a bottle filled with new eyes and a milky liquid, or a vial of baboon blood. So just kind of weird, strange stuff like that. It's going to go up and up into the different towers, and since they say um, it's a living castle, a lot of these NPCs can be moving throughout the castle. They're not just like fixed, waiting for the PCs to open up the door. They could be moving from one place to another. They could be traveling into to this area here, or going up these stairs. So it really allows you as a judge to kind of mold and shape it the way that you want the narrative to flow with these NPCs. And obviously these are hags, so they're going to be tough. You've got lesser hags, and they're still pretty tough. I mean, they're going to have some spells and stuff, so that's always going to be difficult. You're going to be making probably a lot of saving throws. There's a bunch of different types of demons, different types. I mean, like type 1, type 2, and stuff like that, all throughout. Big and small and strange, and obviously many of them disgusting. You've got a great trap towards the end of the dungeon that makes you fall and take ridiculous amounts of damage. And they've been very meticulous about each level that you go through. And if you were to fall at this level of the dungeon, how much damage you would take. So just little things like that are very, very cool. And obviously you're going to face the Gristella, who sits on the throne. The sword from Trolls of Mistwood is going to make a comeback here. And if you remember, if you watched that video, or if you've played it, it's going to make a comeback pretty strong. And it's a big part in the story of Curse from Mistwood. So I love a lot of these pictures. Again, great new art from David. These are a lot of the encounters that you'll find within the swamp, and you can roll those up randomly, which I always enjoy that. Especially that it's going to change by like dawn or dusk, night or day, and this of course is going to be in the Hag World. So even by the time that you get and you deal with the Gravic swamp hags, that's already going to be a bunch of adventure. Just getting back through the swamp, going from Mistwood, finding out what's everything that's going there, getting to those hags, and then going back, going into the Hag World, and then making your way, obviously talking to those hags that are there, that want to take over the throne, and then making your way all the way to the castle. You're going to have tons of adventure there, tons of encounters with these strange, demonic larvae, assassin worm, damn things, just tons of new cool encounters. Mournful reeds, stiltmen, dry spot, lesser hags, trolligator. I mean, there's a bunch of new great things in there, so that's really, really pleasing. You can use those in other adventures too, real easy. Just pull those out of there. And then, obviously, the majority of your adventure, I believe, is going to be played once you've already done maybe a lot of role playing with those hags. Is going to be in this castle and exploring all the different rooms. Describing the way that the walls are. I think the PCs will be very excited and interested in how this castle is alive, being able to give off that kind of extra personality that this castle is going to have to it. And then dealing with these hags, and they can make bargains. They can try to capture the PCs. And then when you get to the last, the main hag on the throne, because the throne plays a part of the adventure, and then obviously she does. She can try haggling with them. Haggling, it's funny. Who did they choose to kind of back? The Gravic swamp hags, the hags that want to take over the throne. Does she have a better deal? There's a bunch of stuff you could do there with politics of the hags, and the PCs are going to be kind of pawns in that. And then I'll have to say that once you actually, you beat this adventure, it's kind of it seems to me it's left on a kind of a cliffhanger. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a third part, and I think it's going to be even bigger than this, because just of the scope of how this adventure kind of ends. Yeah, it's going to be pretty big, and I'm really impressed with this adventure, mainly because while Trolls of Mistwood is a fun, great adventure, um, it's dealing with some stuff that's kind of we kind of know about trolls, but really don't. There's a lot in there about it, so it kind of helps you out with that, and then it tells you about the hags. But this really goes out to, I think, outside the realm of what a lot of players and judges, DMs and GMs kind of know about, and that's dealing with hags. And I think that's a neat, new, exciting kind of foray into monsters and having this hag world, dealing with them, role playing them, haggling with them, and again, the sword right there front and center, again playing a major part in the adventure. So yeah, I think it's very cool, and I love the back with this guy getting choked out. The mug's getting straight up played and getting dealt with. So yeah, big adventure. I think it's going to be a big hit, especially if you want to explore hags, explore a different type of area, kind of a mirrored universe, mirrored world of the swamp of Mistwood that you might know already, you might have run. And so if your players, I think, really enjoy Trolls of Mistwood, now you're going to take them back through that. They're going to be able to relive a lot of that stuff and then go into like a hell version of it with hags, trolls, strange castle, strange monsters in there, strange everything, and put this hag down. So there's Curse of Mistwood. Um, it's definitely, I think, going to be a long adventure. I would probably say that this would take several months if you play if you play 4 hours a week or something like that. It's going to take you a couple months to get through this thing. But some people are fast and quick, and I'm slow and old and kind of plodding along. So who knows? You could get it through it faster, but I think a lot of the players are going to want to explore each one of the rooms, and I do think it's going to be a deadly adventure. You're going to really need to, hopefully, of course, DCC 46 level. You're going to have some strong characters by then, and you're going to need it to face those hags. So hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.